righty, here we are.
Hey, everybody. I was just making sure y'all could see me over here in the Facebook group. I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. And we're here in lots of different places today. First off, hi, everybody in the Facebook group. Hello to all my awesome people in YouTube hanging out over there and on lots of different spaces and places. And hi, Brock. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you got to come on here and chat. And for those of you who don't know Brock, you're going to get to know him in just a few minutes. It's going to be so fun. You're going to get to hear from him and ask questions. So as you're coming into this, if you come in a little bit late and you're like, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. Hey, that's totally fine. You're just going to type some stuff out in the comments. Make sure you type out your questions. We will be answering those later. So let's go ahead and jump in to today. Today is a super exciting day. And this is Brock Knight, as y'all can see here. And Brock, just introduce yourself. I'd love for you to introduce yourself to everybody. If you have just something to say, go for it.
Well, thank you, Kathryn. You and James, you are awesome guys. I'm telling you.
Thanks.
We met y'all about a year ago in ministry here locally in Tennessee. We all have the same heart. We love the Lord, and our heart is set to help people basically organize, or I would say simplify their mindset according to biblical principles. You know, the message God has given us is biblically whole.
Yeah.
Is for people to be whole in every area based on what the Bible says and the biblical promises and the commands of the Bible. So that brought us from Atlanta, Georgia, where I was running a construction company, and we made it here to Tennessee. God directed us to move into the mountains, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from you. We live near Chattanooga, near Winchester, Tennessee, in a small little valley called Sherwood, Tennessee. No one knows about it, but there is a state forest beside us called Sherwood Forest. Which is pretty funny.
That's really awesome. I love the name of it. That's like Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Like, I just love, taking from, that's it. So anyways,
really
I think that's
amazing valley here. It's amazing. Like literally the families here go back to the very, very beginning of the state of Tennessee.
Really?
The farms that we work with that raise the cattle that we now sell in a company called Blessed Foods, the cattle and the sheep and the pork and all of the animals. We even have elk and buffalo here. Wow. And we are able to market that, and their ancestors, literally the guy, Mr. Bean, William Bean, I believe his name is, the very first settler or the pioneer in the state of Tennessee was their ancestor. So it's really amazing to know that the first one to Tennessee, that family, they were in Murfreesboro, Tennessee area, and then they moved to Sherwood, Tennessee.
That's so cool. That's really cool. Well, just a little bit of like premise too for what we're going to be talking about, you guys. Like, I know some of you may have seen what we're talking about, but today we're going to be talking really with Brock about understanding organic meat and figuring out like what the difference is between grass-fed and grain-fed and all the things. And he's going to be sharing all that with us today and just helping educate us on that, plus also why he started what he's doing and all those types of things. So you're going to get to learn a lot about this new company that I'm super excited about. It's really awesome.
And we have some fun things that we're doing. We're giving away some free beef here soon. So all of any of the Kathryn May followers, any of the drop the weight people will be able to give a free 3-pound pack of beef. Now that's some sirloin.
Wow.
Really good sirloin. Let me tell you, the best you'll ever have, and ribeye and some ground beef. So we're going to give away some.
Did you say 3 pounds?
3 pounds.
That's a lot. That's awesome. Okay, great.
It's enough to sink your teeth in for the whole family and enjoy it. One on us, just to be a blessing. And all we ask is that people, they sign up on the email list, and we're going to pick someone randomly from the email list and bless them,
Okay, good. Definitely. We'll talk about that before we go today. So y'all stay tuned for the information. Stay to the end, and we're going to be talking about how you can enter to win the 3-pound meat giveaway, which is huge with today's prices being what they are. And let's just go ahead and start there, Brock. To be honest,
Yeah.
this is such a big like source of contention for people in their life right now because the prices of groceries are just astronomical right now compared to what at least what I've ever experienced ever. And, I'm 40 years old, so I'm not, I've not been around forever. But, it's just as long as I've been buying groceries, it's bad right now. And so a lot of people are feeling it. And so I love, anytime we can give anybody stuff is so great. So that's why I'm like, yeah, 3 pounds of meat. Y'all better stick around to the end. Okay. But, and find out how you can win that. And definitely, signing up for all the email lists and all the thing is awesome. But let's talk about the cost of meat and like why organic is the better option. And why is your organic meat any different than buying organic meat from Walmart?
Yep, there's a good like in the church, there's a remnant, right? There's a small percentage of people in America right now, even around the world, that understand and have studied. This information age has allowed some people to really look into it and find out what is the best way, what is the healthiest, and all of that. And you have people that are making the decision to do the hard thing. It's not the easiest, but to raise their cattle the right way. And it's not right, isn't hard usually. It's just about as common sense as it can get. You look at how God designed animals and you kind of stick with that. They're designed to eat grass. When profit and greed gets involved, you end up cutting corners, right?
Yeah.
And what you'll find when you go to a grocery store is 4 different categories of meat. All right. The first you'll have is what you'll see all lined up in the meat section, all bunch of red meat and pork and chicken and things. You're going to have what is grain fed. The vast majority, literally 97% of all the cows in America are grain finished. I'll say, and I'll explain that,
Okay.
and grain fed. When I say grain, that doesn't mean just organic grains. That means they have a formula, which is called feed. And that feed, they are intentionally feeding them for the good business purpose. I mean, there's business. It is to make them bigger, faster, period. Now,
Right.
it takes, if you go in the grocery store, them 4, that first one is called grain fed. All right. So you get 4 categories. One is they're fed all grain. The second category that you'll find is they are basically fed grain and grass their whole life. Right. And then at the end of their life, for about 4 to 6 months, they are fed nothing but grain. It's called grain finished. Your next category is they're grass fed their whole life. And then at the end, they're grass or grain finished. And then you have the last one, which is God's intended way, hands down, no doubt about it. It's grass fed their whole life and grass finished. All of these, you can raise a cattle, and the grain fed only, you can have a cow born, and within a year and less, actually, they do it less. You can have them fattened up big enough to slaughter.
Wow.
Less than a year. Now, grass fed, grass finished, it takes us 2.5, 3 years. Okay. So if you want to speed things up and make money, you'll pump them full of grain. The problem is the health. The faster you do it, the absolute antithesis of health. It is the most unhealthy for humans. Basically causes inflammation. That fat that is produced from all the horrible things they feed them. In that feed, they have other cow waste. When they slaughter them, they blend all that up, and all the cow waste, literally other cow meat and particles of meat, are put in the feed to feed the other cows. It is horrible. They take waste from fish. They do all kinds of different, really basically this. Antibiotics they pump in there, right, for medicine, they'll say. And then you have all the other things they call nitrates and nitrites. And then there's hormones and all the other, I can go down a long list, things that you see on packaging. They're like, well, our cows have never been given this, but it's so misleading because the feed has all of it, right? The worst way they're raised is in a feed lot in a little space where they feed on grain all day, every day. That's the worst way. And let me tell you, that right there is about 90% of all of our beef.
Wow. Wow. And so why is eating, I mean, obviously, I think it's obvious at least, and we're not told these things though, so it's not quite obvious. So when we go to the store, we're just picking up, well, for me, I teach my clients the good, better, and best rule for food. And so that means I'm always telling people what I practice in my own life, which is just to look at what options you have and then pick the best one you can afford. So sometimes that's the good choice, at least, which is the lesser of the good, better, best scale.
Right.
But versus like buying those tubes of hamburger meat, which to be honest, our family has struggled over the last maybe 2 months since Christmas, probably everybody has. And we have started like downgrading even more of the things that we were super aware of. Like, we're not buying that kind of meat, or we're not buying this, we'll buy that brand. And we're having to like compromise because of the price of everything. And so like the tube meat was totally out, and I would buy the organic
Yeah.
brand meats at Walmart for grass fed, what they call grass fed at least beef, and think, well, I think I'm making the best choice here, but I don't really know because we're so deceived. We're so like kept under wraps. Like, we don't really know. And even when we do know, like, people say ignorance is bliss. I truly don't believe that, because ignorance is not bliss. Would it be blissful for us to like drink bleach and not know that it would kill us?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the way I think about meat and food in general too. It's like my husband and I mean, this, Brock, like, this is just something we want to do. We want to be like more self-sustained and be able to food, have food for ourselves, grow our own food and for others too. And so I love what you're doing, but how does just the average person or somebody who lives in a city who doesn't have access to making sure that they can get something like this, how can they like know what choices are the best choice, at least for them, for meat?
That's always the question, because when you go in the grocery store, see, the USDA, they completely change their tactics all the time.
Mhm,
Okay. They're smart. Okay.
mhm.
They change the tactics, never they get you conditioned, and then you think you're all smartened up, right? If
Yeah,
you say that's not even a word, but you think you've got it down, right? And they
right.
change right now in my local area here in Winchester, Tennessee. I go to the grocery store. We have three main grocery stores, and the three main, there's no grass-fed beef in them anymore. No more.
Wow.
What we have in there is all USDA, big old USDA, meat. This is big old USDA all over. Like, it's the brand now. Okay. So here's the deal. You go in there and it's all USDA brand. And I went in there and there was a few, the first time about 6 or 7 weeks ago, there was some grass fed ground beef on clearance. Like, they were getting rid of it. It was marked down and all the USDA was marked up. Now, most conditioned Americans are going to go and say, whichever one is the most expensive, that means it's better, right? They go in there, and if grass fed is less and they make their USDA more, they're right now, they just switched over to making the USDA more expensive in some areas, not just some cuts. And then it makes people perceive value differently. So here's the thing. On the packaging, you'll see green, right? Different shades of green, light green, dark green, and immediately you think, oh, that's organic, it's healthy, right?
Right.
Here's what you're going to see on there. You're going to see all natural, or American raised, or they'll say produced in America. So here's a few things. Number one, all natural don't mean nothing. They literally say it's a natural cow. And yeah, it was a natural cow. It had life.
Right.
That is the lamest, the most lamest proper way to say it, thing ever. All natural. And it means, oh yeah, it was a natural animal. Like, it was a natural chicken, even though it was in a, feed, one of those chicken houses, and they can't even breathe, all that stuff. So
So sad.
all natural don't mean nothing. All right. Then you go into produced in America. So right now, 80% of all the beef that's in our markets is imported out of our country. Literally. And when it goes through America, it gets USDA inspected. As soon as it's USDA inspected, It's then called produced in America.
Wow.
Because
So really? What?
in America.
Okay, hold on. Let's say that again. 80% of all of our meats
In
is
our grocery store.
not from our country.
Yeah, because as soon as it gets imported and then it goes to a processor, a business, and then it's processed and put in vacuum sealed bags and wrapped and packaged.
Mhm.
It's just like a tundra, you know what I mean? It's all Japanese or whatever, and then it comes over here and it's made in Texas because it's assembled in Texas, right? And that's kind of how it is with the beef. So
It's wild.
once you get into thinking, oh, it's made in America, yeah. Because what it'll do is you'll look at the label, and it'll say manufactured in some cases, but in food it'll say processed in or distributed in. So that's the big fraud right there. Next, you have organic. All right, USDA organic, and all of our farms in here in our mountains. Every one of them said, I don't want anything to do with your organic program. They don't want anything to do with the government. Just be honest. They've been doing it for 12 generations here, the way God intended, Christian families here. And they don't want that. What happens is they come to here's how it works. They go to your property, and you may have 80, let's say you have 100 acres. They need at least 2 to 3 acres, and they kind of change the rules. But here's what it works. You go and they'll take a part of your property, and you've got to be able to certify that this part has not had insecticides, pesticides, or anything on there, and it's been organic, right? That field
Okay.
does not have to, that your farm can be certified organic as long as you have 3 or 4 a portion of your farm. The rest of it could be pesticide filled and have GMO everything, as long as you get certified for a part, and then you can claim certified organic.
Which truly is not organic, I've heard, because doesn't that mean like the pesticides, insecticides, all the things can just blow over? I mean, obviously, right there, even if there's a field far away, it can still kind of blow right into your organic space.
You got crops and you got your
Mhm.
your animals, right? So the
Mhm.
animals eat feed. You have to be able to certify. Here's the problem with, if you want to raise it organic and you want to call them organic, you don't know where your feed came from. It might say organic, but again, knowing the fact that only a portion, just a few acres of their thousands of acres they raise, has to be organic, and all the rest of it could have pesticides, you can't certify anything you buy. You don't know it's organic unless you know the people who raise your food. That's where it all boils down to. You want to know the people and their practices. And the best practices is raise your animals as close to the way God intended them to be raised without using unnatural, if you want to call it that, inputs, we would say. So on our farm, cattle eat grass. They eat a lot of stuff, actually. They eat the brush from trees, they eat nuts, they eat all kinds of foliage, they eat grass, all this. So what we do is, in the wintertime, we have hay, so we have grass in part of our farms that we cut that and we roll it up, and in the wintertime, they're able to eat the same grass in the winter. But here in Tennessee, today, for example, it snowed. Did it snow where you were, Kathryn?
No, it is so nice here. I went for a
Yeah,
walk outside and nothing, like no jacket.
same here. But right up here, you gotta go a mile up my mountain, and it's a white winter wonderland.
That's
Mountain on
awesome.
elevation. So the elevation up here, it's all snow. Beautiful, right? All the trees are covered. It's pretty. I
Yeah.
saw some snowflakes come here, but when you go down elevation where we are in the valley, we don't get the snow. So the cattle on our farms, they're able to go up the mountain and eat on the terraces of the mountain all the way down the mountain. They're able to eat in the hills and they eat in the valley. They drink spring water all year round. The best water they can get, the best air they can breathe, and they eat the best grass, the best soil that has never been contaminated with anything since the founding of our country. Literally, the people that founded our area was here before the Declaration of Independence. When it was 13 colonies, one had that pioneer come here, and he worked with the Cherokee, and he worked with all the Chickasaw Indians and everything. And our valley was a Cherokee huge Cherokee
Wow.
area. It was like the crossroads of civilization for Cherokee. And there's a lot of cave here, a lot of water, a lot of food. And he came right here, the very first pioneer to work with the Cherokee, and they never left. For 12 generations, they're still here, the same family, and that's who raises cattle. And you know what they did back then? The first pioneer, he was Christian. He observed how the buffalo went from the top of the mountain down, the deer and all the other animals, and it was just common sense back then. Cows are their cousins to the buffalo. And what the buffalo like to do in their patterns, we just mimic that. And they've been doing it here ever since the beginning of our country. Ever since.
That's really cool. That's way cool.
And you don't have to, reinvent the wheel. You just kind of say, God, you know what you're doing. And when you do that, what's amazing? That meat. Now we hunt here, okay? We hunt deer and things like that. And we have elk, we have buffalo, we have cow, right? And goat. All of our meat still looks the same as deer. Deer is very clean and organic, right? It's in the wild.
Right.
And a lot of our cow meat looks just like our deer meat in the wild. And people, most of the time, are pretty conditioned, and they don't understand that since they've been their whole life eating bad, unhealthy. When they start eating healthy cows, they feel good. There's no inflammation. You have less. And here we go on this topic. You get less mucus in your body.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So when you start getting clean meat, your body doesn't produce as much inflammation or mucus to counteract the inflammation. All those antibodies that are going in there, not antibodies, but the radicals are they're attacking your joints and stuff, and they're going in and causing inflammation in your colon. Pork, for example, takes 14 days. Takes 2 whole weeks to digest pork.
Wow, that's crazy long. I don't definitely don't drink pork, but I don't eat pork, just not because of any specific reason, but I typically don't. I'm chicken and beef pretty much all the way. That's just what I eat.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Good night.
2 weeks. But when you raise even pork properly, you move them in pasture and let them do what God created, all right, it actually takes that down to a few days. It's a totally difference even in pork. Now, God knew what he was doing,
Of course.
Pork, if you don't force them to move and graze, they will sit there in one spot and just wallow in the mud and eat anything. They'll even eat humans. I mean, they will eat anything.
Yes.
So it's very, very bad, what they can do, and it's healthy. So God told humans back in, in Jews, the Israelite days, to stay away from that. And he had reasons, because the practices can make that. Pork is actually, if you don't do it right, it's extremely unhealthy. Cows, any animal, if you don't do it right, if you cut corners, you're cutting corners for your body. I'll say another thing. Here we go. The next one. You ready? So you got all natural, which we already took care of that.
Okay.
You have made in America or processed in America or distributed, all that. The next thing is organic, right? Organic is just one of them things the government tried to do to appease people. There's ways around that. You can't certify that something's organic. The next one is grass-fed. Here we go. So right now, everybody's getting more educated on grass-fed. So what they do is they have these farms that raise their cattle on grass. A lot of times they'll have grass or grain, and they can do both. They'll go out and eat grass, and they'll come in and eat grain the whole time. So they yield a bigger animal because they do that. But here's what is the kicker. When they take that in and sell it to the feedlot, or just they sell their cow to the different companies that they sell them to, they'll take them and what we call grain finish them. So grain finish means they might have ate grass their whole life, but then that last several months of their life, last 3 months or whatever, they will pack them with nothing but grain, even though they ate grass. And that last little cycle that you do turns all that good meat, if it was all grass, turns it into toxic meat. And it's sad, because that's what they do. So that's what most people, that's where literally the most confusing or misleading of all of the grass-fed is. They're like, oh man, this is grass-fed. I paid a lot of money for this. But if they really look at it, was it grass fed and grass finished?
Wow.
I've had people all the time, tell me, well, I bought this. I'm like, was it grass fed? Yeah, it ate grass. Like they're like, what kind of question is that? Of course it ate grass. I'm like, no, was it grass fed only? And did it finish off the end of its life before slaughtered, eating only grass? Or was it grain finished? And a lot of them don't even know. And that's where it boils down.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, people don't know. So what we're trying to do is educate people to look into this and find out. The people that know their farmers, a lot of times they'll visit the farms and things like that and see how they do it, and things like that. But the idea is to know that it's eating grass and it's finished off of grass, right? The thing is it takes a lot longer to do that, and that's why it costs more for grass fed typically, is that you have to take 2.5, 3 years to raise an animal, whereas, just more input, more time and effort, things like that. But when you do that, you're eating the cleanest version of meat that God intended for people to eat. Now, originally in the Garden of Eden, there was no meat being eaten, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
When Jesus comes back and we do everything over again, we'll be back to that. But in the meanwhile, right now, we take the life of a plant or a vegetable or whatever, or an animal in order to live. You might as well do it in the cleanest, most organic way possible, because your body is the temple, right? And you have to take care of it. So, does that help? I hope maybe next week I can do a chart and really line it up for everybody if that helps. Whatever.
Yeah, if y'all would like that, just say so in the comments. Just say like, yes, please do that. Yes, chart, or just type in chart. Okay, just type that word in there. Just say chart. Okay, so I love what you've shared so far. And to be honest, it's a little overwhelming because it's almost the reason why I feel like it can be overwhelming is because people don't understand, okay, well, okay, that's the issue, but now what do I do about it?
Right.
So it's not always just knowing, like knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. So how do we know, but still not be able to do anything about it? Like even, there's other like subscription meat, places where you can go like Butcher Box and other things like that. And I don't know that their meat is that great quality, to be honest. I don't think it is. But I don't know. But again, that's why we're always eating things we don't know. I grew up on a farm. I grew up eating stuff my mom raised, cows I fed and that licked my hand and all kinds of stuff. So I watched sheep get their heads stuck in the barbed wire, so that's how I grew up. But and I did gardening and I did, like I played in the dirt. What'd you do for fun when you were a kid, Kathryn? Well, I played with ants. That's what I lived in the dirt. That was it. But it was a good life, because I was healthy, and I really believe that that's why I have such like a good immune system and everything. I don't hardly get sick. I'm getting over something, so that's why I'm trying like not to cough even right now. I'm like, no cough. So, anyways, but I think it's great to be able to give our kids, to give our own self, like, I don't know, like why is the cancer rate so high right now? Could it be because we're consuming stuff that causes, like what you said, the inflammation and the cells to react?
Yeah.
Right.
Allergies. I mean, we could go down a long list. There was no allergies like we have now.
It's wild.
You mentioned that 80% of our country's on prescription drugs. 80%.
Crazy. That's a lot.
80% are obese now. Depending on their obese, whatever their measurements are these days, but they consider 80% overweight, and then they have a different number for obese, and they have a different number for everything. But then you look at 1990 or whatever, when they passed the vaccine laws, where it's all basically they made it to where there's every single one of those companies didn't have any type of what's the word? They had no risk. So it jumped up from 7 or 8 that we got to now every kid when they're born has about 70 shots. Now I think it's 80 or something. So every one of our babies born have 80 something different shots required. That's on a list from your pediatrician. 80 something shots. Now there's about 50, but some of them are 2 or 3 each, right?
Right.
That is ridiculous. I mean, come on. Like you start them off on drugs, basically is what it is, right? And then their whole life, you're surprised why 80% of them are on prescriptions. And the food that we eat, I said all that to say this: they've done the same thing with our food. Your food is all drugged up.
Yeah.
To be very clear, it's fake, synthetic. We can talk about this all day. I mean, this is one of them things, like all food, if you go down, you don't want to be a drug addict. So you don't want to eat drugged foods. I mean, that's one easy way to put it. Your animals are vaccinated, and they're trying to give a COVID vaccine to animals now.
What? No way. I have not heard that. What?
I can't you can't say too much on it because they'll strike you and all that other stuff.
No, but I have not heard that. That is wild. That is so wild.
In Europe, yeah, they've already got laws and stuff in place to put diapers on cows.
What? I'm sorry, what did you just say? Diapers?
Yeah, for everybody here as an adult, that when all the cows fart, pass gas or toot, whatever you want to say, it causes global warming.
Yes, I've heard that.
The methane, from all of their toots are destroying the ice and everything. They're destroying the world.
They're going to put diapers on them?
Literal diapers. There's companies already started to sell diapers to farmers, and I'm telling you right now, the way we do it in the mountains, that's never going to fly here. I'm telling you, we started before this country came together. And matter of fact, we've got books here in the Valley from the beginning of our country when the first Congress passed the first few Congresses of our country. We've got books. Matter of fact, I've got one right here behind me. Well, somewhere right here. I got a book right here. One of the very first Congresses. I mean, it's like 200 something years ago.
Wow.
They put out a book about the history of the world, basically,
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And I got one of the history of the United States. What they taught back then is completely different than what's in our history books now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if we're going to live our lives as healthy as possible, and that's mainly what I talk about anyways, y'all know this, it's about being healthy from the inside out. Doesn't mean supermodel body and in the gym 7 days a week. It just means healthy. And so like, if we're going to live healthy and try and do it in a way that obviously in the best of our ability that honors our body as a temple of the Holy Spirit, because that is so important. How can we, because obviously like you only do meat right now, correct? That's kind of what you're focusing.
Right now we're able to offer meat products, and we started off with beef. I'm adding lamb, and I'll even do pork for people because we raise it very healthy. It's like if people want to eat pork, I would rather them eat the kind of pork we do.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of good uses for pork too, actually. Even though not eating them, they have the fats used for sausage and things like that. So
right, that's good. So how can people like let's just talk about this. If they want to buy meat from Pre-Blessed Foods, how can somebody go about doing that? How can somebody go about placing an order and working with your company and getting 100% grass-fed, right? That's what you're talking about.
Grass-fed, grass-finished, pasture-raised is one of those key words because we move them on pasture. We do a management in MIT. It's where we move them constantly from field to field. They eat grass and the most energetic part of the grass. If you have a grass blade, cows will come eat the first, 1/4 of the grass only first. And that's the most nutritious part of anyways, we move them constantly, right? And that builds soil and everything. And, you would go into our website, preblessedfoods.com. You can order it. And I personally right now am basically delivering to everybody who orders. I want to shake their hands and get to know their families. It's kind of like, while I can, I'm going to deliver to people. Because right now, locally, I deliver those of us who are here doing the farming, we deliver to everybody personally. We like to look them in the eyes, know them, kiss the babies, know the dogs' names, and pray and bless people and things like that. We want to know those who are eating our food, and we want them to know us. And it's very personal. We keep it on a very private, it's constitutional, man. We tell them we're raising this right. No matter what happens in our world, we want them to know they can depend on us, and at the same time, they like to let us know they can, we can depend on them. But at the end of the day, we're going to do what's right, and that's it. You can go to preblessedfoods.com and order. You can get like an eighth You can get a quarter or a half or a full cow, in the same way with pork or lamb. And here soon, here in about 2 weeks, we're going to put elk and buffalo on there as well.
Sweet. I love elk.
So if you want to order some good old elk or buffalo or bison, if you want to call it, we're going to start offering it and delivering. Now, what we are looking right now, we're just trying to get some funding so that we can actually set up our office space here, which is my basement. We're going to set down there with a whole bunch of freezer space. We're getting a freezer trailer. Once we can freeze a lot of the meat, we're going to be offering everybody convenient shipping, because we can ship things as soon as you order. You'd be able to get your meat delivered to your house in 2 or 3 days. So as soon as you order, 2 days later, it's on your doorstep. We're trying to do butcher box or them do, but we just want to be able to deliver to people convenient. And we just have to get ourselves set up for that right now.
Yeah. Okay. So currently you're not delivering, because I did have that question. I had several people come in the group and ask, do you deliver to this state? Do you deliver to that state?
We do. We can deliver. Yeah. It's right now we have to deliver through UPS. Okay. They have, what we do is we call each person, talk to them. We'll go to the UPS and tell them what the shipping is, and we figure out a way. Now, right now, since I preach the gospel, I try to make all of my rounds around the country driving. So right now I'm going to California. When I go to California in 2 weeks, I'm going to pack up the truck full of beef and I'm going to make stops and deliver to people on my way. I'm going to DC soon and go preach in that area. And when I go to that area, I usually my delivery work based on my road trips. And I go north, east, south, west. I just kind of go like that around the country. So we're going to go minister to people. Might as well deliver some beef and get in homes and have a good excuse to get in there and pray for people and everything like that. So it works out.
Okay. I love that. I love
UPS or FedEx, right? And then here soon, about a month, we'll be able to conveniently ship to anybody.
Okay. So that was what they were asking. Like, when can we do that? When can we order and just have it shipped straight to us? So you're just in the very ground stages. Obviously, you guys, you have to understand that this is a brand new company. Obviously he's working out of his basement. He's doing some stuff. Him and his wife, they have they have 2 awesome children together there. And then, Brock has another little boy and then another one on the way. And there's a lot going on in their life. So this is a startup business. This is something y'all have just started well, not just started, but you've been in the work of getting it going for a little bit.
A good way to put it is this. They've been delivering meat in the region, Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia for many, many generations, right?
Got it.
When I got here, God led me here, and I became friends with all the farmers, and we all connected. They're Christians and everything. We built a good, solid working relationship, earned their trust. It took me about a good 2.5 years of living here to earn that. They are in that situation, like most of the organic grass-fed farmers around the country, is the way things are going, the way they're manipulating the process. And for example, processing. Okay, here's a good one. You realize that there are 70-something processors that burned down? Did you hear that back when COVID was going on?
No. I think vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, there was, conveniently meat processors burning down everywhere. Like accidental fire, whatever, you know what I mean? So that causes a bottleneck, and people getting it processed. The USDA has certain crazy laws that require you to go get it USDA processed. And when you do that, it sometimes can make you wait 2 months, 3 months to get it processed or something like that. So what these farmers are facing is a lot of them are going to have to either go out of business or stop marketing beef and just grow for their own family, because they're making it hard for people. So what we've been able to do is we're going to keep the farms in our valley, in our whole mountain range here, in our region. We're going to keep them all in business. Right now, we have enough in our valley to service a lot of people, right? And they just didn't have anyone to help them move it. So I agreed, and God led us to do this. They're producing, and I'll just go ahead and help. It's our service to our community. So we're just getting started and scaling it up to deliver to a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I think that's awesome. So this is how you do it, ladies. You just get in touch with them via their website through the preblessedfoods.com. And I think I might be saying that wrong. It's Preblessed Foods with an S.
Yes.
Okay.
.com.
All right. I just want to make sure because I think
It's
I was
like,
typing it in wrong.
yeah, it's
Go ahead.
right there. You can see the
Yeah.
logo right there. freeblessedfoods.com.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
making sure, just in case anybody else missed it, like I did. Even though it's right there, sometimes we still miss what's right
It's
in front of
true.
our face.
It
Oh,
happens to the best
I
of
do all
us,
the time.
Yeah.
I do
And
all the
please,
time.
I would like for the people that we have on here, from our YouTube channel and stuff, to hear what it is you have going on as well. You offer courses and classes teaching people how to live in a God mindset and basically implement that into their lifestyle, right? You're not a
Yeah.
weight loss program, you're a mindset,
Yeah.
right?
So I'm a
How's that?
weight loss mindset coach, but I teach biblical wellness. So I really help women stop dieting. Like, let's just stop all the madness and start living healthy. Just doing it the way God gave us. He gave us a lot of instructions, just like what you're saying. In the garden, we started out, he said, here's what you eat. Here you go. Like, he gave us instructions. It's not that we don't know what to eat. We do know what to eat, truly. Even though I'm saying, like, how do we pick it in the grocery store? How do we know? Of course we know what to eat. But that's the thing. It's just that we're so bombarded or so conditioned with these the marketing messages that are on the packaging and having things pre-done and not cooking and having the mindset that cooking is hard. So eating healthy is hard because if I eat healthy, then I have to do all this work and nobody wants to do all this work and all this stuff. So I help women work through those processes, obviously in their mind, that kind of can keep them stuck, feeling like those are like, they could be called limiting beliefs, or I call them, that could be agreements you make with yourself. But truly, like, that's the surface level, the very tip of the iceberg about what I work on. But when you start working with me, we go through, I've created a course called Drop the Weight, and it's drop the weight, but it's drop it inside first. We're really going to be working about, on dropping the weight of the emotions that we've been carrying around for so long. All this, like, emotions are good. God gave us emotions. He's emotional, right? Like, he has them. But we tend to eat our emotions, drink our emotions, smoke our emotions, addiction our emotions in other ways, TV our emotions. We numb out, right? That's the way it is. And so I work with women specifically, and I'm actually a certified mental health coach through the American Association of Christian Counselors. So I really help women work through whatever they're holding on to that's weighing them down, like inside, because what's going on inside affects what shows up on the outside of our body. And just like when you consume the meat that you're talking about with the inflammation, that inflammation will show up on the outside of our body with like bloating and pain in our knees and our backs and all that stuff. And then we're like, what's wrong with me? Well,
your skin, your face, all of it shows up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I do. I mean, it's in a nutshell, I guess. I mean, that's what I do. I truly, I love to help women break free from the lies. That's the bottom line, from the lies of the enemy that keeps us in this circle, this perpetual circle of chasing some kind of pre-done diet plan and thinking, I'm worthless if I'm fat, or, somebody called me ugly one time, so I'm always going to eat my chips at the end of the day or whatever, like or emotional eating. And like I said, is a big deal. But if we can learn how to deal with our emotions and actually like deal with them, we have to feel them first and then deal with them, and then we can heal from them. But it's not running to the food. And that's the thing. Like, people can lose weight. Brock, you know how to lose weight, right? Laura, you know how to lose weight. But I know how to lose weight. But the problem is we all do this because none of us are dumb. We know how to do it. But the problem is we like keep coming back to it, and like we gain it again. Like we lose it and then it finds us. We're like, well, I didn't really change anything about my identity, who I was becoming in the process. I still identify as that person who binges on chips at the end of the night. I just gave it up for a short time. So there's like, I teach a difference between behavior modification and true identity, becoming someone new. And that only happens through Romans 12:2, which is, you will be transformed by the renewing of your mind, being made new, to think differently. So I work with women in their mindsets when it comes to doing health in a totally different way. And yeah, it's unique and different, and I love it. Obviously, you can tell it energizes me beyond belief to be able to talk about it, because I'm like, yeah, everybody needs freedom. And I do believe truly that dieting is like a straitjacket that we put ourselves in. And it's like a straitjacket that doesn't bring freedom, it's bondage. And so if we're living in bondage, that's why nobody wants to diet, because they're like, I can't eat cake. Hey, guess what? I've learned how to eat cake and eat and lose weight. It's amazing.
Come
You
on,
know what God gave us. It's pretty awesome.
revelation.
Yeah. So if the spirit, where the spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom, according to the word. So if where the spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. Okay. So if there is bondage, there can't be freedom. Where's the spirit of the Lord then? Because where he is, there's freedom. So there can't be both in the same place. Bondage and freedom don't exist in the same place. And if Jesus
Right.
ain't in it, I don't want it. So that's it. Yeah, that's
That's
it.
right.
That's really it.
You and my wife really get along really well.
I love
Laura is like, I have to give her credit. She's the big inspiration for us. Her and I both met each other at a booth, both doing nutrition at a World Sports Fitness Expo in Atlanta, Georgia. She was doing some organic products, and I was doing some supplements, nutritional thing. It was all about helping athletes, with some good, clean, organic stuff.
Yeah.
We started talking and we hit it off, and her dream has always been to raise a family eating the cleanest food. We have a commercial greenhouse now back here where, we have big gardens. We have our chickens, and our chickens do all the work for us. We eat their amazing eggs every day. They scratch through a whole bunch of compost. We use that in the greenhouse. We grow a big garden. Our neighbors grow gardens. So through everybody, we're able to do anything and everything. Just about everything we're able to access somewhere here. And I know the people, I know how they raise it. I go and talk to them and say, hey, how do you do that? And they're like, oh, I'll do this. I'm like, how do you fertilize? And if someone's, oh, I get some 10 from Home Depot, whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to, But the people are like, no, we just use our cattle. How are your cattle raised? Well, they're all grass fed and grass finished. Good. They use their manure, and we have sawmills. We have lime, mines here. So the mining companies get lime, and we're able to use our own nutrients from everything and do everything sourced right from here. Right. So my wife look, it's funny because when you study this, like, I want to eat natural, right? And then our kids. So just today, I was talking to my buddy down here. I was like, hey, we're going to take the girls. Now, my girl's 3. Both of our girls are 3 years old. Catalina's 3.5. We're going to take them squirrel hunting,
Wow. And, brave guys.
Yeah. We're taking the little girls out there squirrel hunt, introducing them, because they've been with us when we deer hunt. We've shown them and we're educating them. They've seen processed chickens and animals. They know what it looks like. They understand what death means, and they understand the whole cycle that when we go into the garden and pick a vegetable and we take the life of a plant, right? So we can feed ourselves, or we take the life of an animal to feed ourselves. We've raised that plant from a seed, and we raise the chicken from a seed. We raise every animal and every plant, every tree, from seed to harvest or to fruit. They understand and get to see the whole cycle. Now we're going to go shoot some squirrels, honestly. We're going to clean the squirrels, and we're going to feed the girls squirrel meat, and we're going to eat some wild edibles out there because it's starting to be springtime here. So we're starting to teach them how to access wild edibles and things like that in the woods.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that makes me tick, being able to see this, because when they grow up, they're not going to want anything else. They've been eating the good stuff. They go get blueberries and raspberries and blackberries. We eat muscadine and grape right out of the woods. We drink spring water right to our house. We have it right to our house. We drink everything that you can. We try to go to the most abundant, amazing, closest to the source as you can. And when you do that, it's amazing. Now that's how it is with Jesus, right? Every one of us, you work for Jesus, I work for Jesus. We get to go straight to the head.
Yeah.
go through nobody. You can be as organic spiritually as you want to be. You go straight to the source.
Yeah.
Now and this is his body. So we try to get things that are as close to the original intent or source as possible and raise our kids. And my wife loves cooking. She'll cook. And when you get this wholesome, today she was crying, just being real. She was like, these eggs are so, she's pregnant. Okay.
I was going to say it's her pregnancy.
You know, look, these eggs are so amazing. We're eating and she's like, man, these eggs are so good. You crack the eggs open and you got that beautiful, bright sunshine yolk. And she's like, I just love. See, that's the kind of stuff that makes a prego emotional. Just having a little fun there.
I figured that's so funny. You're absolutely right, though.
Mm-hmm. You got to have fun. It's family. You know, you guys are family to us. And, you know, everything that we do, like, look, it's amazing because when we raise it right, when you give it and someone else eats it, you feel good. You really do. Because you don't want to just keep that all to yourself. I mean, you do everything and God blesses you.
Right.
And you're supposed to eat of it yourself, right? And you're supposed to give. So, I mean, we give a lot away, right? And then you sell. Jesus said, sell that you have and give alms to the poor. So we sell what we do and we're able to give, and it's a blessing. Everything we do, you know. So.
Yeah, I love that. So some people were asking earlier, not just a few minutes ago, but earlier, they were asking about pricing for the pre-blessed foods. Is all that listed online?
Oh, yes. Everything's on the website. Right now, if you do an eighth, right, 1/8, it's about 50 pounds of meat, right? That equates to a top freezer of a refrigerator being about 3/4 full, right? Okay. So if you've already got a little bit in there, you know, a quarter of meat, which most people have about a quarter of their freezer full because they go constantly and fill it up from the grocery store, you would fill the rest of your refrigerator up, your freezer and your refrigerator up, okay, with an eighth. Now that's like $5.50. Right, so that's $5.50 packaged and solid frozen. It's vacuum sealed, and right now we have a USDA. We have three processors in our valley, so we get it through one of them. They are a USDA process, and that is the law. So we wouldn't be able to resell it if we didn't do it through a USDA processor.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so you just said an eighth of a cow is about 50 pounds of meat, and then
50 pounds.
Say that again.
It's plus or minus 50 pounds depending on the cow. But what we'll do, as soon as we get that freezer space, we're going to make every box exactly the same every time. And it's about 50 pounds, and it's a good amount of, you know, you're talking about 25 pounds of ground beef. That's 25 packets, a pound each of amazing ground beef. There's ribeye, sirloins in there, and, you know, you get a little bit of chuck roast and good stuff in there. There's stew meat, you know. But it's all on the website. You can see the cuts.
Oh, good.
Of the eighth of what's on the a quarter and a half and a whole. Now, what we do, we also have bones. You know, if you want the bones, we'll say we have someone right now that's ordering a whole cow, right? And we're going to give them everything. The only thing we can't give people nowadays, another law, the USDA, is the head. You can't give people the heads. Believe it or not, Hispanics they take the heads and eat them. They take the brain and boil it and eat the brain or something like that. But there's this thing called mad cow disease that they say that's the reason why they say they have to take every cow head, the USDA ships it off. And supposedly they inspect it for mad cow disease.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Very interesting. But here in our area, we can privately process our meat for people privately. In the private capacity. We can't do that because it's not USDA inspected. If we want to here, you know, as friends and family and stuff like that, we'll process our own.
Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, but just for everybody. I mean, for everybody to know. That's really great. So that's so yeah, I think you've answered all my questions, but I do just have one more before we wrap up. I know we're getting ready to hit the hour mark, so we'll probably need to wrap it up in just a second. Yep. But I wondered if you could just share briefly why you chose to start doing what you're doing with pre-blessed foods.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, God called me to preach when I was young. I've been preaching for about 20 years on and off different things. And I've done different types of business, right? I've done sales. I've done network marketing. I've trained, we had 20,000 people in our organization that I taught and trained leadership and business. and help people get successful in that. I ran a roofing and construction company and got very successful training people in that. And God told me at 2019, I quit. The Lord directed us to quit our business. I quit doing our business. We went into full-time ministry for the last 3 years. We moved up to Tennessee, and since then we've been traveling around the country, preaching and training, making disciples. And God did a lot of amazing work just in our own hearts, okay, by serving people. And I can't say enough how good God is. By serving others, you find yourself being changed to be like Jesus.
Yeah.
And as we went through that process, God has led us to this point. And I do consulting. So we started about 4 different businesses. So we have our ministry, and Biblically Whole is Night Family Ministries. Biblically Whole is an outreach of Night Family Ministries, where we teach and train sons to be mature sons of God. We, Christians, we raise them up. We try to mature them and teach them and train them. That's how we met you.
Yeah.
And I have a consulting firm, Knights Legacy Solutions, where I teach and I basically help business owners apply diligence and excellence in their businesses, and I help them with marketing and things, and I consult in whatever way. We have a team now in our consultancy that help people, and that's anything from finance, mergers and acquisitions, and buying and selling businesses, things like that, and helping people be successful in their own. And God tends to draw Christians to me, that are that want to do business, right? And then we kind of help them. So we're discipling and training even in our business. And then we started Pre-Blessed Foods in order to move food. And then we also have a survival training here in our mountains, where we have some very amazingly trained military people that train people life skills, how to eat wild edibles and things like that, hunt and things like that, how to survive, how to shoot weapons and things like that. Anything that people want to learn to better themselves, to be prepared in whatever way, we have training classes for that. And we got all kinds of stuff we're a part of. It goes on and on. But at this point, we just say, yes, God. That's it. Yes, Lord. Yes, yes, yes. And we try to keep no out of our category. Unless God says no, we say no. At this point, we're going to help as we have, therefore.
On my end. Oh, there. I'm back. I don't know where I went. Like, I left the room. Okay, I'm back. It was like spinning.
Did.
I was here the whole time. Jesus did not take me anywhere. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt.
And that's all good. We just love people, and you love people, and by the time you just obey God enough, He brings you around people that are going in the same direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just follow the Lord, and you just never quit. You just keep going forward. You never back down. You never quit. You just obey and go after. You know what? And you might know that there's things you're like, I got to get better. But you know what? If you just keep going and never quit, you'll find yourself.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself growing. You just never quit. You keep going and let God. The Holy Ghost knows how to work on your mindset. He knows how to renew your mind. Just keep going after Him, no matter what. And our business, look, everything we do in business is what we're doing to fund our ministry. Okay. We don't want to live by donations or anything like that. We want to travel and preach the gospel, pay, and just instead of being blessed or giving donations, we want to be giving to them. You know what I mean? We want to travel. We want to do the work of the Lord, be about our Father's business without any hindrance. You know what I mean? Right. And there's too much hindrances out there, and someone's got to step up. Someone's got to do something about it, right? And we're men and women of action here, aren't we, Kathryn?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Opening our mouths and speaking the truth and loving on people, and and come what may, and the naysayers and all the others that come, bring them on. I'm like, okay. I just had somebody totally attack me on Instagram the other day about an encouraging reel about the peace of God. I was like, oh, He gives you this peace. And it was just a beautiful little reel. I just thought it was so precious. Anyway, so somebody did not. Somebody thought, why would you invade my space? And basically what they said, which I thought was kind of funny, because I was like, seriously? they said, something about pushing my beliefs on them or something like that. And I think we're on the internet. Y'all can choose to watch or not watch whatever you want. There's lots of y'all right now that get to choose to turn this off right now. Like you can.
The person who says that, Kathryn, the funny thing here is when you look at this objectively, the person who says, why would you invade my space is the one pushing their religion on somebody.
Oh, believe me, I know. But the funny thing
is, has freedom of speech, but as soon as you start attacking someone for exercising free speech, you're the one that's invading his belief.
I already know. It just is so irritating. But I'll be honest it was funny, to be honest. Because after the invading your space comment, it was I have peace without your tall tales of God or whatever it was. And I was like, based on your comments, you have zero peace. You're very up, like in the air of like mad right now and everything else. And I was like, I read it to my husband. I said, okay, James, listen to this. Cause we just laugh when people come, cause I'm on the internet. That's where I'm at most of the time. So, people are, feel like, at least they feel like they have superpowers to say mean things on the internet. And I'm like, oh, thankfully it doesn't affect me because I already know who I am in Christ, and I'm not trying to be there for them. But at the same time, like this is the sad part. It's that this person is so deceived into thinking whatever peace they think they have is so easily lost by somebody else like me. I came along in their life and totally stole their peace. I'm like, okay, Jesus stood up in the boat when the wind and the waves were about to capsize that boat, and he did not run around like Chicken Little with his head cut off. Mm-hmm. He didn't join in the disciples and be like, oh no, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? He just stood up and was like, hey, that's enough. Like, like, okay. And so that's all I was trying to say. Like, here's this, Jesus has this peace because he has authority and knows who he is, all the things. And that we have that too. Like, so just rest a minute, sit down, shut up, and stop freaking out. I mean, I don't want us all to shut up. We need to use our words in the right way. But what I'm saying is, that's what I'm saying. Use your words in the right way and calm down. Right. And so this person was like, I have peace. Tell me I have peace. I'm like, you cannot have peace if you're yelling at me.
Oh, man.
Because I have peace. It's Jesus. And you haven't stolen that from me. Apparently, I stole yours, though.
We'll keep on loving them, We'll just love them.
I know it's wild. It's just wild out there. So that's why I love being able to connect with people like you, because it's really important.
I have found something amazing. When people act up like that, if I had a way to get a hold of them, I would call them. Like, I'd call them right away and say, you know what? And I'm telling you, every one of those have turned into being the most faithful, loyal people ever after I called them. Because, they're usually unhappy people. You know what I mean? You go love on them and bless them. Next thing you know, on the phone, they'll get healed. They'll get blessed big time by God or something. And the next thing you know, they're like, and the next thing you know, we know them forever. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine that person would give me their phone number after calling me privileged.
It looks like my internet's going in and out, so I guess.
Yeah, mine is too. I'm feeling like it's time to go, probably. Y'all, listen, we're going to wrap this up, but real quick before we do, Brock, will you tell everybody, and then I'll leave this also for y'all in the comments too, how they can enter to win the 3 pounds of meat?
All you do is go to preblessedfoods.com and click on and subscribe to the email list. If you subscribe to the email list, you'll get some emails and things like that of general stuff that we're doing. And we're going to be putting out the email and February 21st. Okay. We will do the random drawing from the subscriber list. And that person, whoever it is, I'm just going to randomly, select one. Put them in a hat if we have to. That person will be notified right away, and we'll let everybody know who won. That person, and when they get the meat, they can take a picture, and we'll email it out to everybody and say, "Look who got the beef." And I want a picture of their kids eating the cleanest meat ever and crying because it tastes so good. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, well, if you're Laura, you might be.
She's like, "I'm gonna win." No, it's all good, and available too. Anybody can call me.
Okay.
I will talk to every person. Like right now, it's more about it's relationship driven. We're not there's way too much demand for meat out there. It ain't like we're trying hard to sell because it's ridiculous. Like everybody wants the healthier meat. You literally feel different. literally feel different. And
Yeah.
when you eat it, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to talk to people, right now that are trying to obey God. And that's really who we're kind of, talking to, because we'll just meet that demand. And then as we earn enough, we're going to just turn on the switch and we'll be able to bless the whole nation with this, and that's what we're going to do here soon.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
Brock, this has been so great. I'm so glad we had a chance to chat about what you're doing and why you're doing it. I'm sure we'll get a chance to do this again and maybe give y'all a little bit more of a warning and a heads up about it so you can plan better. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful for everybody that hung out here. And I didn't have any more questions. So I think we're
We have
good.
one question from Florence here. I can add it on.
Yeah.
Anyways, Florence asked, since she's in Canada, if she wins the beef, how will she be able to get it in Canada? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If she wins, I will call her and we will figure out something, and then we will look at those options. And if she decides that it isn't worth it, because the cost or whatever to get to Canada, and we'll figure out a way. Because I know people that are up in Wisconsin stuff that grow some good meat. Maybe we'll figure out a way to get her something. But at the end of the day, we'll try to get it to you. We love you guys. Bless all you guys out there. It's good seeing some of y'all on here in the chat. And
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just finishing Jackie Schaefer. Jackie, if you can hear me right now, I see you, girl. She said meet, which just means how do I enter to win? And so that's not hyphen, but is it preblessedfoods.com?
oh yeah, I can put it here in the
Yes. So I was just typing it out for her too, but I want to make sure there's no hyphen between pre and blessed, correct?
that just
All right.
preblessedfoods.com.
Pre-blessed foods. And so, yeah, I typed that in there wrong. So that's why I wanted to make sure I let her know. Um, it's pre-blessed foods with an S
Yep.
.com. If you go there, Jackie, go ahead. What did you want to say?
I just posted it here. It'll be going. It's on both of our YouTubes. I'm not sure if it'll go to your Facebook. So
Okay, that's great. So if you go there and I just put a link in, and so did Brock. If you go there and get on their email list, you will be entered to win. And he just said, I don't know if you caught it, they're going to be doing the giveaway on February 21st. And everybody who's on their email list, they're just getting started. So this is a brand new thing. So get on their email list. They're not going to spam you. They're just going to let you know what's going on, what meats are available when. So if you want to know, get on there. And then you get entered to win 3 pounds of meat. That's awesome. A huge deal. I think that's a pretty good value too, probably close to $40 or something like that,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
we also did something special for Kathryn May followers, a discount code. Do you remember that code?
Honestly,
I think it was drop the weight.
I think it's drop the weight. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember, but I do think it's drop the weight. All right, Jackie's going to do that. And Beth said, what happened to all the chat? I don't know, Beth. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but there's a chat there. So yeah, there's some people in the chat that are hanging out on YouTube right now, on my channel at least, and that are just trying to figure out what's going on. For those of you who are just coming into the live stream, we're about to wrap it up, but it'll be up for you, I'm sure. I think, is it going to be up for them because you're doing the live stream for them to be able to watch later?
Yeah. Right now, all this is going to be on my channel, your channel. It'll be
Okay, so it'll stay up after the live is ended. They can go back and rewatch. Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure of.
Next week we'll probably do this again, and maybe that next week I'll do some type of more educational. I can throw some charts up or something like that and walk people through what is in the feed. I have a list of the things that are in the feed, and when you go through that, you're not going to want to eat grain-fed crappy beef anymore, because it is horrible what they eat. And when you put that in your own body, it's against your conscience once you know it. It's just, at the end of the day, we bless our food, right? We bless, and we thank God, we speak life over our food. But I have a thing we teach people, everybody is try the best option with every decision you have, choose the best. And right now we're just blessed to be able to access the best kind of meat. I have a freezer full of deer meat. I will love that clean, amazing meat. So I like it every day.
Absolutely. I love that too. So if somebody orders preblessedfoods.com. If somebody orders and uses the promo code drop the weight, you guys are going to save 10%. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. So it's drop the weight, all one word.
And we have in our email list, people that drop, the subscriber, they get 10% off their first order as well. Right now, we're going to be able to do things like that to, incentivize people to, to get some stuff in, and it'll be good. So everybody's going to be blessed.
Okay. So I'm getting, Beth says she is getting a fourth of a pound, or a fourth of a cow. Sorry.
Yeah.
A fourth of a pound, or a fourth of a cow. I'm going to say that right. She said, hello, I'm getting a fourth. Okay. From Pre-Blessed Meat. Yeah.
I'm going to be delivering to her here, I guess a week right when we get it. She'll be one of my people that I come to. She lives around Knoxville.
Good. Oh, good. Okay. Good. That's awesome. So that's really good.
Yep.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, good, Beth. I'm so glad about that. Knoxville, that's a good ways away from you. Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah. Just a few hours, So I'm going to be making some trips around anyway. So I'll just right through. So, and Beth's like family. She's been around for a good bit with us. So,
Okay. Well, hi, Beth. I'm so glad to meet you.
Yeah. Actually, you met her at the workshop.
Okay. Okay.
Beth. She had the nice country accent,
Okay.
Anyways, we all have country accents.
I was gonna say, let's just talk. Who's talking right now? That's funny.
Right. That's good. Oh, yeah.
You're from Tennessee, though, originally. So, I mean, I can see that. I'm not. I'm from Missouri. I do not have an accent. Sometimes it might come out depending on who I'm around for a while. But typically, I'm from Missouri. Oh, yeah. So everybody has a country accent around here, Brock. She's the one with the country accent. That doesn't help me.
This good old Tennessee accent.
Yeah, she even types Tennessee. She said, sure enough. So funny, Beth. That's hilarious. Well, I'm glad to see you again. I'm sorry I don't remember everybody's names. Anyways, I just think that's awesome. Well, I'll let everybody know who is in the Facebook group. I'll update y'all too and give you some more information and let you know when we're going to be doing this again so that Brock can give you some more information about all the things. But thanks so much for hanging out with me so far, tonight, all of you who are here. And Brock, thanks for your time coming on and sharing about what's important.
We're so glad, and be blessed, everybody. Thank you all for joining. If you have any questions, obviously you can contact us and we'll answer anything. We're all family, and we all want to eat the same, and keep your mindsets right. Keep being renewed. So love you guys. Be blessed, and you guys all have a good night.
Yeah. Bye.
Goodbye.